Hey, what's going on? It's a new year, new decade. I'm DJ Sixsmith. You're watching The Sit Down. Robert Randolph's here. Grammy nominated. What's up, man?
How you feeling?
I'm loving this South African vibe you got going on here.
Thank you very much, man. South Africa, baby.
You had a really good trip there, you just telling me.
Yeah, man, I had a great time in South Africa. It's the motherland, you know. I had, I got so much new inspiration from all of the music, you know, around there. You know, you go to a local restaurant, local bar, just different bands, choirs, singers, groups. I mean, the harmonies, the melodies, everything is beautiful out there, man.
It's one thing if I go over there, but for you as a musician and you're feeling that vibe and maybe you're getting a little inspiration, like that must have been a really cool thing for you.
Oh, it was unbelievable, man. It's the motherland, you know. I had a chance to go to Cape Town, Johannesburg. It was just an eye-opening experience, you know. For us black people, we never go back to Africa.
Yeah, and now you're back, and now you know what's up.
All of my Jewish friends go to Israel 5 times a year,
Africa
right?
should be in there as well.
Right, we never go to Israel, right?
You don't have like a free trip to Africa, you know, like some Jewish people get the free trip to Israel. It's like,
I know,
come
right?
on, man.
Let's go.
Let's make that happen.
We got to start. Come on, y'all. We need free trips to Africa. Everybody out there.
Well, it's a pretty good time for you. Grammy nominated once again. So
yeah.
You've had this before, but what's the difference this time around with this album?
You know, this album was very special. You know, we dug deep into our roots. You know, coming from the church in New Jersey, but my church is sort of like this organization that's sort of like this Chitlin circuit, juke joint Chitlin circuit. You know, like those guys used to be in the South, Muddy Waters and Albert King and all of those guys. So for me to kind of work with this producer Dave Cobb, who's one of the greatest young, hip, and also old school producer. But he's so young, but he seems old school, right? In the terms of how things get recorded, right? And so we had a chance to work with him and, you know, really incorporate like a choir along with these beautiful sort of classic rock written songs, using these gospel references. We had a song called Have Mercy. We wrote a song called Baptize Me. I wrote another song called Cry Over Me, which features these sort of church choirs, but it's sort of makes you feel like that old school feeling, like I want to know what love is, you know.
Yeah. So
yeah, it was great to work with him and really dive deep into my gospel roots. So it was an awesome time.
What was the hardest part to pull off in this album?
You know, I don't know what was hard. And you know,
fully enjoyable?
Well, the hardest part was really to make a record where there was really no auto-tuning and overdubs happening, really. It was all recorded live on the moment, in the moment, because that's how Dave likes to record, you know. And actually, I had written these songs with Rob Thomas, so many other great songwriters, but Dave, working with this producer, Dave Cobb, he like, you know, you'll sit down with him, you come in the morning time, you're like, hey man, grab a guitar. Yeah. All right.
Just start jamming?
Yeah, let's start jamming. Hey, I like that. Let's write a song right now. So that's how the old...
He's very spur of the moment is what it sounds like.
Yeah. Right in the moment, and kind of like, what are you feeling today? What are you thinking? All right, somebody in the band said something, somebody said, you know, okay, let's write the song. Let's write that song today.
That's really cool.
And that was really, it was you know, that's how most guitar players, musicians, singers, that's how we really want to record, you know, because we all think it's harder some other, I mean, we all think it's easier some other way when it's not. You wind up wasting way more time.
You got to go through the whole thing.
Yeah, well, you know, during the course of the year, we like to get with this guy, this lady, that lady, and record all of these different songs, write these different songs. Next thing you know, you sending tracks over to different guys. Hey, bass player, record on this. Hey, I'll put it in Pro Tools. Don't worry about it. You know, by the time you do that, you know, 2 years went by. You never really finished a song.
What are we doing?
It hasn't been recorded. Yeah. It's kind of been demoed. But it was great to really just sit down, write the song, record the song, and the record sounds amazing, which is one of the most sort of satisfying things about this record.
That's
making
awesome.
it.
Yeah, definitely. So the church sound is very specific. The gospel vibes are pretty cool. Like, where does that all come from for you? Like, take me back to just your history in the church and just that music for you and how it resonates with you.
Yeah, well, so recording this record, you know, growing up in church, you know, we kind of kept going back and forth. My sister was a great vocalist and arranges a lot of the vocals on the record. She would always go back to these moments of like, doing vocal things like my grandmother would do vocally, So we would always kind of go back. But our church has this, I play the pedal steel, lap steel guitar, as you can see, But in our church, it sort of like plays the role of the organ or the piano in most churches. But the style of music is very rock and roll, very blues, classic rock sort of style. So, and it's really just pedal steel, lap steel, bass, drums, and that's it. A bunch of people clapping, singing, and yelling.
And there you go.
So the pedal steel would have to play all of these different roles. You would have to play rhythm. You would have to play notes like the singer when he or she finished singing or the choir finished singing. And you would have to take these moments that, when you it's kind of like watching an old juke joint. And, I keep going back to that, but that's really what it's like. If you remember that scene from Out the Color Purple when it was a church over here and a juke joint over there, right? And then she starts coming together, but everybody's in there. Same music, two different scenes, and so forth.
So when did you get your hands on one of these for the first time?
I got my hands on one of those for the first time when I was. Actually, my father bought me one when I was 14. It was a little lap steel that you sit on my lap and you play it. So that they call it a Hawaiian guitar, right? Because, in my church, it's been in my church organization since the 1920s. So it's sort of like the Buena Vista Social Club of pedal steel, lap steel guitars. So he bought me one, and I was always the drummer in church, right? So I guess one day when I got about 15, 16, I got bored. And I really pulled it underneath the bed, right? And I started to really get serious about it. It was just sort of all of the different inspirations, the different sounds, And I really got serious about it when one of my cousins, it was funny, he now lives in Kansas.
Okay.
And he just came to a show, and I hadn't seen him probably 5, 6 years. And I was doing this interview. He was like, remember, I was the first one that gave you that tape of Stevie Ray Vaughan. I was like, that's right, you were. So I had never heard of Stevie Ray Vaughan before. And he had said some guy from his job told him to listen to Stevie Ray Vaughan. He was like, you got to start playing like this. Wow. You got to learn. If you can get this, you could be the game changer at all lap steel, pedal steel playing. So I took that tape home and I practiced every day, all night. Went out, came back, practiced more. I was just trying to play like Stevie Ray Vaughan. So.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So you and the band, the sound has certainly evolved over the years. You guys have been together for such a long time. What are the differences between the early sound and where you guys are now?
Man, that's a good question. I think we've all just got more experience, as singers, as songwriters, as performers, I guess. I guess it's, when you come out of the rawness of the church that we came from, if that's even a word,
sure.
Right? That's even a phrase, right? And immediately sort of come out into this sort of, we started on the jam band world and then got into the classic blues, classic rock, Dave Matthews fans, Fish fans, String Cheese, all these different bands, Eric Clapton, all these different guys. It was kind of what do we really do? What do we do? And people are like, just do the same thing you've been doing. All right. No, just keep doing that. But, talking with guys like Clapton and Santana and Dave Matthews and all these guys, sort of, having the pleasure first of being around these guys, having them sort of be cheerleaders of me and the band and the sound, and kind of seeing how it will evolve, right? Just kind of, how to develop a song, how to write good songs that'll last forever and ever, how to stay true to yourself, which is always sort of difficult.
Yeah, that's
in
not
the
an easy
music
thing.
world. No, because over time you'll get all these different people. Hey, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Hey, why don't you rap over that thing? It's like, well, why don't we just get a rapper? I don't. Yeah.
Stay true to yourself.
I could rap.
Sure,
on the
but
bus
somebody else could probably do it better. Whereas you guys, your sound is unique. You're gonna nail that sound every time.
If you want me to rap on the tour bus or something, I
but
can do that.
Clapton out there, it's a little bit of a different story.
I don't know if we're gonna sell any records me rapping. But you never know.
Hey.
Maybe we'll try that.
That could be the next album.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Clapton, Santana, Dave Matthews. Why don't we talk about some of those guys? You were talking to me about Santana before. What is it about him that you've picked up, and maybe some things you've learned along the way?
Who's
so let's start with Santana. What have you learned from him?
Oh, shoot, man. Working with Santana, Carlos Santana is he's sort of like everybody's sort of like uncle, you know. He walks in, or, you know, he was like, oh man, I really love that. Okay, man. He's like, hey, why don't you come on tour? Then you go on tour with him. He's like, hey, what were you doing on the stage today? That's totally wrong. You shouldn't be doing that. Like, what do you mean? He's like, man, you should be making people dance, man. People want to dance and feel happy and go back to your roots. Like, all right, man, sorry, man, you know.
But you need that guy to call you out
everybody
every once in a
needs
while,
that.
right?
You know, we all need that. We've all had that. You know, me, Derek Trucks, Jack White, all these, you know, we've all sort of been around Santana and learned from him because he's, you know, he's one of the music godfathers, uncles of all music, crossover music especially, you know, being this guitar player that sort of fits in every sort of scene, you know, rock, blues, funk, Latin, jazz, all these different, yeah, he's done it all. So, but he's a really great guy, and I love him. So, and I've had a chance to record with him, you know, on many occasions. You know, I recorded with him on one of his records that came out, I think, in 2008, and then he was on mine back in 2012, I think it was, and just having him always around. You kind of, when you see him, you kind of get scared. You
and you're like, no, that's Uncle Santana right
there. What is Uncle Carlos going to say to me now? What are you doing? What kind of record was that you made? He'll like this new record, though, we made.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah, yes, he will. I haven't seen him since, but I'm sure.
I'll
probably see him at the Grammys, of course,
there
right?
You go.
And he'll like, probably give me a big hug. Like, oh, thank you, my brother.
That's dope.
Yeah.
How about Eric Clapton? I mean, there were some pretty cool performances with him. What sticks out the most with that experience?
Man, working with Clapton, it's sort of the same thing. He's sort of like more of a laid-back guy, and Clapton is kind of a guy like he just wants you to, you know, he wants to just lead by example, and he's kind of like, he doesn't really say much. Sometimes he will, but he's like, just watch, just watch, you know, and you watch him and you learn. I mean, because here's a guy that, first of all, he's played and been around all of our heroes, played with and been around all of our heroes. Hendrix, Dwayne Allman, you know, I mean, the list goes on. B.B. King, you know, Zeppelin, the Stones, the Beatles, right?
It's insane, yeah.
And you know, he sings great, he plays great, he writes great songs. He's done the spiritual songs, he's done the whiskey songs, he's done cocaine, he's done them all, right? So, you know, it's sort of great to just be around him and learn from him. He's one of the first, between Clapton and the Allman Brothers, they were the first two that sort of kind of opened their arms up to me and the band and kind of took us in and kind of, you know, and that's what you need as a young musician.
You need those people in your life.
Yeah.
No doubt. So you're a Jersey guy. Let's talk Knicks basketball.
Let's talk some Knicks,
when
baby.
I think Knicks, Friday Night Knicks, you're the guys.
Friday Night Knicks, man.
How did that whole thing come together?
You know, it came from, it was a guy named Sammy Steinlight that used to work for the Knicks. I worked for Madison Square Garden, actually. He knew I was a big Knicks fan. I just probably from reading and being around other people. So he came to a show one day. We played at Roseland, right? And here in New York City, which is cool. And he was like, "Hey man, hey, you're a Knicks fan, man." He's like, "You got to start coming to some games." It's like, "Oh hell yeah, let's
like,
do
let's
it.
do it. Yep.
Let's do it." So then I wind up becoming close with him, right? Becoming close friends with Sammy Steinlight, and we would go to games. And I had never met at that time. This was like 2002, 2003. I had never met the owner, James Dolan, right? So then we were playing at Jazz Fest 2004, and this other guy comes up, this other guy, Alan Canoff, he comes up, he says, "Hey man, you know who's outside your tour bus?" I was like, "Who?" He's like, "James Dolan, man, him and his wife is out there." I was like, "What? You tell him to get on the bus right now." And he comes on the bus, and we talking, and we hanging out, and I'm like yelling at him about all these Knicks moves.
Talking trash about the Knicks.
Yeah, and then ever since that day, I've been close friends with him and close friends with the people at the Garden. I mean, I've always been a Knicks fan. I was a basketball player in high school, you know, and Dolan's always like, "You don't know that much about basketball." I'm like, "Yes, I do."
Well, you could hit him back with, "Maybe you don't know as much about music as I do." JB and the Straight Shots, you know, not as great as the Randolph band here.
That's his passion. He loves to play music, man.
He does.
Yeah. What's funny is he rehearses more than most bands. More than most. I mean, he makes. I'm like, "Hey, what are you doing today?" He's like, "Oh, I'm rehearsing with the band." I'm like, "Oh shoot, maybe I need to start rehearsing more too."
Maybe I got to get back in there.
Yeah, man. So you know, he's very passionate about his music, and He loves to write songs. He's a great guy, man. You know, he gets a bad rap in the New York media, right, as being this other guy. He's a really great guy. He gives to many charities, many different foundations. He has the Garden of Dreams Foundation,
that's been great.
which I partnered with. We all partnered with, and we've opened up studios at different boys clubs all around the city. Done a lot of different things, so it's been really fun, man. But the Knicks are coming back.
Where are we at with the Knicks? How are we
the Knicks are coming back, baby.
Yeah?
We got Julius Randle, Marcus Morris.
It's been a rough
RJ
year.
Barrett. You know, it's getting better, man. I don't know if you've been watching
I've
the
been
last.
watching, yeah.
Well, they've been playing way better. We got rid
Three-game
of-
winning streak. Then the West Coast trip hasn't been going so great.
That's right, but they've been playing way better. Don't
They have
forget, when Fizdale was a coach, we'd be blown out by 40 points
It's true.
by halftime.
Mike
right?
Miller's at least got something going
Oh
on.
yeah, Mike Miller is a great guy. I mean, first of all, we have these young guys that can play basketball, but we also have these veterans, right? Like Julius Randle, Marcus Morris, Bobby Portis,
Wayne
Alfred
Ellington in
Payton.
there, yeah.
All these guys can play basketball.
Yeah.
We already know they can play. So let's just put it together and let's like really start the. I mean, I think they really got something with. They're on the right path of the rebuild. Finally.
And Mitchell Robinson, can't forget about him.
Oh, he's
either.
great.
I mean,
He's
just
great.
incredible, right?
I mean, he's great. Don't forget, he wasn't drafted. You know.
It's true.
He wasn't
Yeah,
drafted.
he didn't even play in college.
Now he's one of the top 4 or 5 young centers in the NBA. So Knicks are looking up. Don't worry, but, you know, we'll be fine.
Just gotta give him a
man.
little time.
I think by this time next
A
year,
little bit of a different story.
oh yeah, we'll be talking playoffs.
Oh, playoffs. We're going
yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Right.
we're going playoffs, brother. Let's go Knicks.
Oh, I could feel it. Who are your favorite Knicks? When you think about your lifetime as a Knicks fan, like what's the squad that you're like, those are my guys?
Well, really, the 92 team, 92, 93. People always forget this team.
That team is lost in history.
Right? It was Mark Jackson. They played the Bulls, right? And they wind up losing to the Bulls. It was 4-3, right? But it was Mark Jackson, Gerald Wilkins, right? Starks first year,
Yep.
right? Oakley, Mason, right? That was the team. Xavier McDaniel,
Yeah.
right? That was the team, right? And actually, no, not Mason. It was Oakley, Xavier McDaniel, right? But that was the team. Patrick Ewing. But Mark Jackson is my favorite all-time Knick.
He's your all-timer?
Number one.
So you'd love to see him coach the Knicks at some point.
Of course I would. And Dolan knows it.
Yeah, you've told him?
Oh, yeah. Probably once a week, I'm like, Mark Jackson.
Bring him in. Bring him
Mark
in.
Jackson. What do you know?
Why did you love Mark Jackson so much?
I mean, first of all, Mark Jackson has been the only true point guard we've had since Mark Jackson.
It's a scary thought, but it's true.
And he's going to the Hall of Fame. He's like number 2, 3 all-time in assists, right? Every team he went to has gotten better. He was just the ultimate, like, point guard.
Ultimate glue guy, Mark Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, he just knew how to run a team. He was a great passer. I mean, all my friends growing up, when they see this, right, watching this, they was like, first of all my friends will say like, they used to call me Mark Jackson.
Really? It was to that level?
Oh yeah.
You were the floor general then.
So they're like, oh, that's great. Here comes Mark Jackson. I was Mr. Mark Jackson.
If you would put Mark Jackson, like 90s Mark Jackson, on like the Melo, Amari, Tyson Chandler teams, like that could have been a different story.
Yeah. First of all, it wouldn't have been all this ISO Melo with Mark
It
Jackson.
was too much ISO Melo.
It
Love
was way
Melo,
too
but
much.
it wasn't going to happen.
I mean, listen, Melo's like one of the nicest guys, but he's going to go down. It's funny because other people say, oh man, he's nothing but Dominique Wilkins, right? But Melo is going to go down as like one of the most all-time selfish players, right?
Sure.
Because he's just.
But he's a Hall of Fame guy.
I mean, look at him now on Portland,
yeah.
right?
He can still get 15 a game.
He's still doing.
But he was never gonna be
Imagine you on a
LeBron.
team with Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum, and he's still trying to beat Melo. It's like,
He's
bro,
still trying to go
what are you doing,
mid-range
bro?
Melo.
What's going on over here, bro?
I know. He just hasn't changed. But that's who he is. He was never going to be
That's the
LeBron.
problem, yeah.
He's not Wade. And he's just a guy that get buckets.
He used to be that guy, and then all of a sudden, I think as George Karl said it, like before the Knicks traded for him, he was like, I can't coach the guy no more. He's a different player now. He doesn't want to move. He doesn't want to do this.
And the Knicks probably could have got him the next summer as opposed to trading the entire team.
Nah, he wasn't going to come because it was all in the money thing, you know. He was going to go to either Brooklyn or one of the other teams. Yeah.
But hey, made him relevant for
I
a
mean,
few
hey,
years, right?
Dolan pushed for the trade. We tried. Just didn't work out. The Knicks are finally building the right way now.
I like RJ Barrett.
It's been the first time in 30 years since Mark Jackson. Don't forget they had Patrick Ewing,
Yep.
Mark Jackson,
Starks.
Rod Strickland. But I'm talking about they drafted all of those
going
guys.
in that, yeah.
Right?
Late 90s, late 80s, early
Late
90s.
80s, yes. Late 80s. They drafted all those guys. It's been the first time since then the Knicks have drafted all of these players.
Right.
It's always been, let's get this guy that used to be good. Let's get that guy. Let's get this guy.
Let's sign Joakim Noah for $75 million.
Let's sign Joakim Noah. Let's sign Kiki Vandeweghe. Let's sign, I mean, I can keep going. Antonio McDyess.
You got to build it through the draft. Yeah.
You got to go through the draft. You got to stink, draft some players, and then build a nucleus. Right?
At least they're watchable. That's where we're at.
Listen, they've been playing much better.
You got to give them that credit.
Yes, yes.
Well, the good thing is here, you have much different consistency with your music. No bad times for you guys. You just keep it rolling. So.
Well, there's always bad times in music.
Yeah, what have been some of the bad times?
This was a lot.
What have been some of the most tough to get over?
Not winning Grammys.
Yeah, I mean, you're due. You guys have been nominated.
We due for one, folks. Let's get one. Let's get a trophy.
Because it's one thing you get nominated, you get to see at the table, you're like, this is cool. But now it's like a couple times through, we're ready.
Yeah.
You guys have great
and then
music.
for us, we sometimes we'll take like long stretches of times off the road, like off the main road. Like you could there's like a main road, then there's like all these detours, right? So you can like take all these detour tour dates, but off the main road, we've kind of been like off of the main road for so long, kind of on and off, but that sort of gets tough. Then you kind of like, hey fans, where are you?
We're back, yeah.
We're back.
Yeah.
Because now it's like 9,000 bands, 9,000 artists on tour.
It's tough to cut through these days.
Right? Publicists know, right?
Nina's just trying to make you break through here.
She's like, I'm trying to find some space for you.
Just get us a venue, Nina. Come on.
There's 9,000 bands.
Well, this is a good one, man. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Why don't you tell everybody where they can check out the new tunes?
Check out all the new tunes, everybody out there. RobertRandolph.net. Robert Randolph and the Family Band on Facebook. New album is called Brighter Days. Check it out. Follow us on Instagram at RRTFB. Check us out. Twitter. Follow us. We'll see you. Brighter Days. Come soon.
There you
See
go.
us.
That's
Whatever.
Robert. I'm DJ. See you next time here on The Sit Down.